guess kind of the first obvious question is Andrew Edson's sort of, I mean, breaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that in fall camp that you could predict that he would have this kind of a start?
You could see that he was certainly, for a guy his age, a true freshman, that he was physically and mentally kind of ahead of the curve, if that makes sense. You even saw it this summer. You know, he's a guy that came in at 245 pounds. He's the type of guy that when you give him coaching points, whether it's in the weight room, in the meeting room, on the field, he takes it to the heart, and he really, really runs with it, and he's a really disciplined guy in all facets of life. So did I think he would do maybe some of those things? Not initially, no, but as fall camp progressed, you could see that he was going to have the ability to help the team really early.
Is it his like bull rushing, or what is it that is allowing him to just?
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. You know, I think he's got, for a young kid, he's got some really good instincts too. I'm a big believer in pass rush is instinctual. Like you got to be able to make split-second decisions, and Andrew's got that ability. You know, and again, it helps. He's a true freshman, but he's about 245 pounds, and so he's got some power and some strength that maybe some other people don't, and he's naturally gifted. You know, so I can't take too much credit. I'm just glad I get to coach him.
From the perspective of the edge coach, how do you think the rushing defense has sort of progressed in the last few weeks? Obviously, that was a bright spot in the USC.
Yeah, it's gotten better and better. There's things we need to continue to improve at, and obviously we got a great test. Utah does a great job running the football. They got a physical line. They got a great group of tight ends. Their running backs are big, physical kids. So we've got a big test this week, and that's not just the D line. It's the front seven. It's the corners. It's going to be a group effort to make sure we limit their run game, limit the explosive, keep the ball in front of us, and force them into more passing situations.
Has the just kind of the general pressure and contain of your group been up to your liking so far?
I got pretty high standards. You know, I appreciate how much you guys are working. I appreciate how focused they are on what we're trying to do out here. I appreciate how much they care about each other. They don't care if Andrew makes a play or RJ makes a play or Brendan makes a play. It's a very unselfish group. They've matured a lot, you know, just in the time that I've been here, and I appreciate their commitment in what we're doing, and so I'm excited to see them play this Saturday.
There was a play on Saturday, and I think it might have been the play where Edson sacked Slovis. And if I remember correctly, you guys had 4 edges out there, 2 in the middle, 2 on the outside. It was something we saw a little bit in fall camp. Is that something that's kind of one of your kind of styles? Is that Coach Dickert, you guys together? Just kind of, can you talk about that just a little bit?
You know, we had it last year. We did it last year, and then Willie got hurt, and some other injuries occurred, and it kind of faded away. But we used it against Utah last year, just trying to get the best athletes on the field, really the best pass rushers, you know, for the situation. Those guys aren't always in, and there's certain D&Ds we use it, we don't use it, and so just trying to get the best guys on the field by scenario. That I think that ultimately that's the job of the coach, is look at what your players do and try to put them in the best positions to be successful.
Edge sets been effective?
Yeah, there's been some. Again, there's some work we need to do there, but I think we've applied some pressure. I know we need to do a better job of it. Absolutely.
When you kind of look at your defense and your edges so far, maybe with the exception of Edson, because I think he's maybe the obvious answer, has there been someone else, it doesn't have to be an edge, that has really impressed you through these first 3 games, that has kind of maybe taken a step that through fall camp up to now?
I mean, Armani Marsh has played excellent. You know, both him and Ice, I don't, no offense, but the outside world doesn't see what those guys are doing, really the load that's on their shoulders from a schematic standpoint, from a rep standpoint. Both Ice and Marsh have been really, really impressive just in all the facets we're asking him to do defensively. I think RJ Stone's really upped his game this year. He shows up a lot more. He's a lot more explosive. He's changed his body. He's a much bigger factor than he was, and he's starting to become more of a leader. And so that's been really good to see. So really appreciative of those guys. Amir, you guys just interviewed Amir Mujahid. Definitely a different guy, especially coming from a JUCO. It usually takes a year to get in sync. I get that. I was a JUCO guy, but he's certainly a guy that you're starting to feel out there on the field a little bit more too.
Another guy just to kind of ask about in the secondary is Shaw Smith-Wade. Played really well against Portland State, played well against USC. You know, obviously not in your position group, but what have you seen from him and how he's developed since you've gotten here?
Shaw's an explosive kid. He's not afraid of contact. He's not afraid to compete. He'll go up against anybody. He's got great short space movement and quickness. He'll go strike things. And you've just seen a kid that now he's been in the weight room for a year. He's been in the dining center for a year. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's moving even better. Coach Rich has done a fantastic job with him. He's got a better understanding, I think, of the concepts, the routes. And so he's going to be, I think, a really good player here in the years to come.
Have you guys kind of settled in on a rotation of however many guys you want to play at the edges? And I guess you sense you're around him a lot in the interior as well. Is it 5 guys or so on the outside?
Yeah, I like to keep it competitive, though. You know what I mean? I'm trying to push to get it to 6 and 7, depending on the scenarios. You know what I mean? Because I think what I've seen this year is the production overall at edge has probably been similar, maybe a touch higher, but I'm able to keep guys fresher. Last year there were times where RJ and BJ had to ride 60, 70 plays a game. That's not good for them within the game, and that's not good for their bodies in the long haul. So being able to rotate, keep those guys fresh, keep the competition hot at practice, it's been really, really good. And I know Coach Longo feels the same way. He's got some guys that we keep rotating through. You ultimately, as you develop a D-line, you want it to be, it's like waves hitting a beach. You just keep rolling people in, and that wave just keeps crashing into the sand. And that's ultimately, as we keep coaching to develop them, that's what we want.